Imagine a nation that promised prosperity, safety, and opportunity, only to become one of the darkest stains in mutant history. This was Genosha. Once called the Mutant Utopia, it became a place of horror, betrayal, and genocide. Its rise and fall is one of Marvel's most tragic stories. Genosha began as a small island nation off the southeast coast of Africa. At first glance, it was a wealthy, technologically advanced country with a booming economy. What the world didn't know was that its success was built on the enslavement of mutants. The Genoshan government identified mutant children at birth and stripped them of their rights, forcing them into servitude through a process called genetic bonding, which turned them into mutates. Mutants stripped of free will and bound to perform labor for life. This system was overseen by the Genoshan magistrates and enforced by the Genoshan press gang, a team that included members like Pipeline, Hawkshaw, and Punch-Out. The X-Men first encountered Genosha when the press gang kidnapped Madeline Pryor and the mutant child known as Warlock. The revelations about Genosha's practices shocked even hardened heroes. In retaliation, the X-Men and later X-Factor clashed with the Genoshan government, exposing the truth to the world. Over time, political upheaval rocked the island. Moira McTaggart was brought there to study the mutate process, becoming embroiled in the conflict. Genosha saw its first major internal change when the mutant known as Magneto seized control during the events of the Eve of Destruction storyline. With the Genoshan Civil War and the fall of the old regime, Magneto proclaimed it a mutant homeland and a sanctuary for persecuted mutants. Characters like Quicksilver, Polaris, and Fabian Cortez were among those involved in shaping its early days as a mutant-run nation. For a time, Genosha thrived as a symbol of mutant unity. Yet tensions remained. The international community viewed Magneto's rule as a potential threat, and many mutants still bore the trauma of the country's past slavery. Still, mutants from around the world migrated to Genosha, swelling its population to over 16 million. In a single catastrophic moment, Genosha was obliterated by Cassandra Nova, Xavier's malevolent twin, who controlled an army of Sentinel robots. The Sentinels rained destruction upon the island, wiping out nearly the entire population in one of Marvel's largest mass killings. 16 million mutants died within hours. Among the survivors were Magneto, his daughter Polaris, who suffered severe psychological trauma from witnessing the genocide, and a handful of others, including Emma Frost, whose secondary mutation allowed her to survive in her diamond form. In the years that followed, Genosha remained a ruin and a graveyard, its empty husks of buildings serving as a stark reminder of what had been lost. Selene, the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club, was obsessed with becoming a goddess. After years of feeding on life energy to stay immortal, she discovered the techno-organic virus, a strange alien infection that could reanimate the dead. She recruited a deadly team, Destiny, Blink, Eli Bard, Wither, and others, to serve her plan. Bard infected the corpses of Genosha's 16 million dead mutants, creating an undead army unlike anything the X-Men had ever faced. Her goal wasn't just destruction, it was ascension. Every life she consumed brought her closer to godhood, and with an army of resurrected mutants, Selene set her sights on wiping out anyone who stood in her way. Necrosha wasn't just a war, it was the dead themselves rising to claim the living. During Necrosha, Selene used the island's mass grave as fuel for her dark ascension, resurrecting millions of dead mutants in a twisted army. When it was over, Genosha was left in ruins. Again. Magneto, seeking redemption, remained determined to rebuild it as a symbol of mutant survival. Charles Xavier, still grappling with guilt over his failures, joined him. The two began working together, bringing supplies, clearing the wreckage, and inviting mutants to return. But the scars of Necrosha ran deep. Many feared the island, and attacks from outside forces kept progress slow. Quietly, Magneto made his choice. He planted explosives across the island, wiring them to erase every trace of Genosha's remains. When the last ship pulled away, the charges ignited, a roaring chain of fire and rubble sinking the island into the sea. For Magneto, it was not an act of hate, but of grim mercy.